Hey, welcome back, guys. Welcome back. Dr. Jaws here, and tonight we are meeting the New Guinea River Shark, Glyphis garricki. We're going to take a look at this is like the second river shark stream in a row, which is really exciting. We get to spend more time with this really important group of sharks. This will be our second species in a row, and I think our third species total. We had the Borneo River Shark, also known as, I think that was they recently reassigned it to, and I'm double checking Sharks of the World, Ganges Shark, there we go. Borneo River Shark was last week, which was recently reassigned to Ganges Shark. And then we had, I think, the Speartooth Shark, Glyphis, at some point last year. So it's really cool to explore more about this little known group. Most people think that only bull sharks are the only species that are freshwater, and the reality is there's also this whole other genus of sharks, which look, oddly enough, very similar to bull sharks. Very excited to learn more about this group. Let's see, I'm just checking my settings, making sure everything's coming through. Okay, cool. Alright. This is a clip of the Speartooth Shark. And I'll fast forward or speed this back up to normal speed. But actually, no, half speed is still pretty good. So this is not the New Guinea River Shark, but it is a very close cousin. And it's a nice example of kind of how these animals move. And it's really cool to see in motion, like how closely they resemble bull sharks. You can tell them apart from bull sharks, though, with the dorsal fins. The second one is very large, whereas bull sharks, which are also a freshwater shark, or a shark that can enter freshwater, they have a very small second dorsal fin. So for river sharks, the second dorsal fin is large. The shape of the dorsal fins are also a little bit different, too, where the river sharks have kind of like a like this like the fin kind of trails out, the back edge of the fin juts out much more than a bull shark. Like a bull shark is just straight vertical, like the trailing edge of the dorsal fin, like the fin margin is like straight down on the back, whereas river sharks, it's kind of more widely spread. And then finally, river sharks, they kind of have more of like a compressed head. So bull sharks have more of like a blunt, blocky snout, and river sharks kind of have more of like a kind of a squished head, or like a flattened head, comparatively. So it's a really cool group to see. There is some footage of Glyphis garricki, the New Guinea River Shark. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that. Hold on. And actually, to compare Glyphis garricki, which is tonight's species, it's known as the New Guinea River Shark, but it's also known as the Northern River Shark. So there is a clip, a video on the Northern River Shark, or the New Guinea River Shark, so tonight's species. So we'll take a look at what this animal actually looks like, and I'm really happy to see that there is footage on it. So we'll take a look at that. And this looks like a river fishing survey. So, like a scientific survey, sampling or looking for these sharks specifically. It's kind of cool that to work with a shark in a riverine environment, the sampling area is so much larger than the ocean. So that's really beneficial as far as like trying to get as many or maximize your opportunity of sampling the animal as much as possible. And here we go. Here it comes. All right. So this is a little guy, but that's actually really cool. These are little known sharks and little known species, and it's really cool to, there we go. See them in life. So it's just such a poorly understood group of animals. So let me go back and kind of rewind so you can get a better view. Hold on. And I'm going to slow that down too, because that was really quick. Hey Howard, good evening. Welcome back. Hope you had a good weekend. We are learning about the New Guinea River Shark, also known as the Northern River Shark. So it's really nice to come back to this group of sharks. So, happy Easter to you too. Hope you had a good weekend. I hope you had some fun activities. I mostly kind of took it easy for the most part. Nothing really new or exciting. We are getting some more sharks coming back into the area. So in the Chesapeake Bay, we've got well, probably not in the bay proper, but this is the time of year like the water temperature is getting closer to where dusky sharks are kind of coming into the area. Smooth hammerheads, which are that cold tolerant hammerhead, and sand tiger sharks. So those are kind of coming into the area too. So probably not quite in the bay, but definitely moving northward. So loving this time of year. It's also really fun to see that everything is like really blooming and very green outside. So in the terrestrial world, but yeah, let me actually slow this down to quarter speed because these clips are so fast. This is tonight's species, and like the other river sharks, you can see some of the key features. The first the two dorsal fins, they're pretty large in size. The head is kind of like compressed a little bit, like it's a little bit flattened compared to a bull shark, so it has kind of more of like a shovel, not like a shovel nose shape, but you can see how like flat it is, and like this is actually really cool. It's such a different head shape than bull sharks. Oh, I'll just drop off the grandkids. Everyone is full and tired. That's awesome. Oh man, happy Easter, happy holiday. That's really great. Um, I like yeah, just that's really awesome. I growing up, I really loved Easter egg hunting. You know, just like my parents would set up. Actually, our family, like parents, aunts, and uncles, they would set up like the eggs in the yard. I actually remember one year that we were, this is so silly. My brothers and I, we were young adults at this time, and I think my mom set up like all these eggs, and one of them had like $100 bill in it. So it was just like an insane mad dash scramble competition, and it was extremely well hidden. And I don't think we found it for like months, which sounds ridiculous, but it's just like I don't know. It was like fun tradition and like just random stuff. Sorry, random tangent. I had this is really random, but I had a shot of espresso earlier, and I probably should not have taken it. So my head is pounding, and if I kind of ramble a lot, that's probably the reason. So, but anyway, what's kind of cool in the northern river shark in this clip, you can kind of see the peg. It's hard to tell, but like the peg-like teeth, like how the spear-tooth shark kind of gets its name. You can see like a little glimpse of it as he's being hauled down. There we go. That's actually a really nice shot of the teeth right there. So, pretty classic vociferous dentition, which makes sense. You know, river marine habitats. These aren't really areas where you get like a lot of hardly any mammals or sea turtles or anything. You know, these are going to be areas that are rich in fish. So it makes sense that a river shark has fish like piscivorous, like fish eating dentition. Again, it's so cool that the sound is like so compressed. I just think that's a really like fascinating thing about this animal. So. The eyes are actually, it's kind of cool to see how the eyes are actually, they're a very similar shape and a very similar size to bull shark eyes, but they're in very, like, relative to the body, they look really different. Like, a bull shark's eyes are very small relative to the giant blocky head, whereas a river shark's eyes, they're also very small, but the rest of the head is just so flat, and so it just narrows into this, like, little, kind of like almost spade shape or shovel shape. So it's kind of interesting to see how they place differently, yet the actual eyes themselves are really similar looking to bull sharks. So but you can see a little bit of a barbel too, which is pretty interesting, under the nasal capsule, so that might be helpful for hunting. And then you can see the two dorsal fins being very large. Really, that second dorsal fin being as large as it is a dead giveaway that this is a Glyphis river shark. And yeah, that's footage of our species. So we'll play it back one more time at normal speed. There he is. And again, this is more of like a shark survey. So this is not really someone fishing for the shark, just for recreation. This is more like tagging and recording. Also, thank you for sorry Howard. Thank you for the audio heads up. So this is like a really cool like tagging recording study. So and this is Marine Biodiversity Hub, National Environmental Science Programs for Australia. So shout out again to Australia for doing a lot of good work with shark conservation. So yeah, and I think this is the same footage. So I think we'll keep going and learn more about the species because there's actually a lot of information about this one. Last week, the Borneo River Shark, there wasn't too much to cover. For this week, the Northern River Shark or the New Guinea River Shark, there's actually quite a lot of material. So I'm really excited to dive in. So Glyphis garricki, named by Campagno, so a very famous researcher from 2008. This species lives in marine brackish oceanic water or pelagic oceanic water down to 11 meters, so extremely shallow. It's a tropical species. Glyphis comes from, tautonymus with Carcharias glyphis. Garricki in honor of New Zealand ichthyologist John Andrew Frank Garrick for his revision of the Requiem shark family and who discovered this species in the form of 2 newborn males from Papua New Guinea and supplied radiographs, morphometrics, drawings, and other details of his specimens since lost to the senior author. So, interesting. One thing that's really interesting is that this is a vulnerable species, but I believe years ago it was regarded as critically endangered, so I'm very curious to see where the status changes. Let's see. Also, the music that I have, it's kind of started to distract me. This is Sim City, and sometimes they have like really cool surreal soundtracks, but it sounds a little too over the top. So I'll change it if it gets a little too pomp and circumstance. So I apologize if it's a little annoying because like usually the cool soundtracks of the SimCity soundtracks, like the surreal ones, are really fun and atmospheric, but this is just kind of weird. So if you hear it and if it's annoying, I apologize. Anyway, so Northern River Shark. So again, vulnerable now, but it used to be regarded as critically endangered. In the 2015 copy of Sharks of the World, it was critically endangered. So I'm kind of curious if the species truly changed or it truly got better, which I doubt, or maybe there was some revision to taxonomy that affected its status. So here is its range in northern Australia and also southern Papua New Guinea. So this is where it gets its original name, New Guinea River Shark, but Northern River Shark I think refers to Australia specifically. So 2,500 to 10,000 mature individuals. So I wonder if I could zoom here. There we go. So 2,500 to 10,000 mature individuals, which is really wild to think about. Compare that to like a city or a town, you know. That's like a mid-sized college campus, and that's the amount of actual individual sharks of this species in the entire world, and that's really discouraging. I feel like when you think of like populations of like large animals, you really get to see, in comparison to like human populations, like how much of an impact humans have had on the world. You know, where to think that. I mean, and you see it most often like whale populations. Out of curiosity, let's check out humpback whales, for example, because they should have specific population numbers for them. Global. Okay. So humpback whale. Oh, I guess it doesn't have that. Should have that. Hold on. There we go. Okay, this should be it. It's nice to see that humpback whales are regarded as least concern. Okay, there you go. So that's what I wanted to get. Sorry, I think I looked at a subpopulation. So, humpback whales which fortunately are at least conserved. I love these whales, by the way. They're everywhere around the world. I've been lucky enough to see a few in the wild, but 84,000 humpback whales in the world, like 84,000 total individuals. So that is not even, that's not even a small city, or maybe it's like one of the smallest cities. Whoa, this is very interesting. Howard, we were once outnumbered by great apes. That is really fascinating. That that's really wild to think about because the numbers are so different now. Actually, out of curiosity, let's check out chimpanzee. Let's see. Chimpanzee population numbers. Wow, you would think they would actually have this. I'm very surprised they don't have the chimpanzee numbers. Okay, let's try gorilla. Or I guess silverback gorilla. I didn't realize there was many gorillas. Or I guess that's okay, orangutan? Okay, I didn't realize there was I'm not as familiar with primates, so I didn't realize there was this many different species. I think they don't have the number of individuals. But anyway, to your point, Howard, it is wild to think about at one point, all these other primates outnumbered us, and now humans have spread out across the globe to such a successful degree. Like about what is it, 8 billion? Is it 8 billion humans now? Versus 84,000 humpback whales. I mean, that's just wild to think about. The one thing that is comforting to kind of balance this out is when I think about little fish or insects, the fact that little fish, or actually not even little fish, like big fish like tuna and striped bass, they can have thousands of eggs, or during their spawning seasons. That kind of encourages me a little bit. In comparison, humpback whales, they give birth to one calf at a time, typically. Sharks, they give birth to anywhere between, or give birth or lay eggs anywhere between 2 to, I think the range is 2 to 80. Because 2 for the sand tiger shark, they can give birth to up to 2 pups. And then 80 for the blue shark, which can give birth up to 80 pups at maximum litter. So, but still, that's it is wild to think about just how many individuals there are. And getting back to our species, the northern river shark, 2,500 to 1,000 individuals. It's still genetically viable, but it's kind of it's disheartening to see how small that is, really. So why is this animal revives as vulnerable? So here we go. The northern river shark is a medium-sized shark with a patchy and relatively restricted distribution in northern Australia and southern Papua New Guinea. It is a euryhaline species that inhabits tropical macrotidal rivers, estuaries, and coastal waters. Previously thought to be very rare, recent surveys in Australia and Papua New Guinea have revealed that the species occurs in higher abundance in a greater number of rivers and estuaries than previously thought. So this must be it. Because it definitely used to be regarded as critically endangered. So it looks like with more research, and this is really cool. This is actually very exciting. I don't think I've seen this before. It looks like with more research, scientists have been able to find other populations and realize, oh, there's actually more of the species. This is doing better than we originally thought, which is very encouraging. Because there are, believe it or not, not well explored parts of the ocean, not well explored parts of the world, and it's just really cool to see. Even today, in 2025, there's still mysterious places, or really unexplored regions as far as really surveying sharks. So it's really cool to see that in 2015 this species was critically endangered, but in 2025, only 10 years later, we realized, wait a minute, there's actually more of them than we thought, and that's because we did more surveying. So all life stages from neonates to adults have been recorded in tropical macrotidal rivers. Adults have also been recorded in coastal marine waters. It displays a high degree of population structuring, with each of 5 regions of the species range representing a genetically distinct subpopulation. Wow. This increases the vulnerability of subpopulations to local threats. The application of close-kin mark recapture to the core part of the species' range rivers from the Van Diemen Gulf, Northern Territory, has revealed a low adult population size. Accounted for the remainder of the species' distribution, including newly discovered parts of its range in the western top end, Northern Territory, and the Kimberley region of Western Australia, all of its recently discovered range in PNG, or Papua New Guinea. The adult population size is estimated to be 2,500, but greater than 2,500, but less than 10,000 mature individuals. Although a protected species in Australian waters, it is subject to incidental capture in commercial fisheries and some illegal recreational retention. In Papua New Guinea, it is retained for its meat and fins in largely unregulated fisheries. Based on current and future levels of threat, a continued decline of at least 10% is projected over the next 3 generation lengths, and a northern river shark is assessed as vulnerable. So, that is such a strange, in a good way, like that is such a strange assessment as far as like, wow, I've never read of a shark that, was critically endangered, and then we realized, oh wait, there's more of it that we didn't understand before. And I just want to echo what they said about, the a high vulnerability due to being concentrated, like different subpopulations being concentrated in different rivers. The fact that those populations don't interbreed, and it makes sense that they don't because structurally they're just so different. But it's pretty interesting to see that the species given its riverine habitat and given its previous assessment that it's actually doing okay. Like not okay, it's not doing okay, but it's not the worst. So it's vulnerable right now. So. Especially with the depth limits, a lot of shark species can have refuge at depth, but this particular species, the lower depth limit is 23 meters, which from a shark's perspective is extremely shallow, really. So there's really nowhere to hide from human fishing pressure. I'm not as familiar with Australia as far as like the Northern Territory, but if it's a low population density region, and actually, let's look that up. Northern Territory. Let's see. Okay. 0.5 per square mile, so a person every 2 square miles. So that might be kind of lower. So that sounds pretty lower pressure. I'm kind of curious if this will go into threat. Oh, there you go, threats. So let's see. This species is caught as bycatch in subsistence, small-scale commercial and recreational fisheries, and although retention is prohibited in Australia, it is retained in Papua New Guinea for its meat and fins by small-scale fishers. The northern river shark occupies large tidal rivers, estuaries, and coastal waters. This habitat specificity increases I can't speak, I'm so sorry. Susceptibility to the impacts of human activities, particularly fishing and habitat modification. In Australia, the species is incidentally caught in commercial inshore gillnet, line, and pot fisheries and is subject to minor levels of indigenous harvest and illegal recreational take. The northern river shark was assessed as a high risk in a cumulative risk assessment for all fisheries across northern Australia, mainly due to its susceptibility to capture in gillnets and suspected low productivity. The level of illegal recreational take is unknown, however it is of concern due to the low population size and restricted distribution of the species, including reliance on riverine habitat by juveniles. This is actually really sad. The species is known to have high mortality rate when captured in gill nets, and juveniles are susceptible to capture in pots targeting mud crab. That's really sad, because that's especially sad because bull sharks, which are kind of a similar species life history-wise, or I shouldn't say life history-wise, but like habitat-wise, they're kind of a similar species. Bull sharks tend to do kind of okay. They're pretty hardy if they are captured, and so it's kind of excuse me, it's kind of sad to see that a species that is not doing as well conservation-wise is more vulnerable, more susceptible to capture. So even though it's an animal that has similar adaptations to a bull shark, being able to swim in fresh and salt water, it is sad that it's more it's sad to see that it's more sensitive. Post-release mortality rate when discarded from other commercial fisheries is unknown. However, adoption and best handling guidelines may improve survival. Habitat modifications such as water extraction and barriers in rivers, such as dams, barrages, weirs, and poorly constructed road crossings, may affect habitat quality and impede movement patterns of northern river shark. That kind of reminds me of the dingo fence, which is, if I remember correctly, I forget where it's located in Australia, but it's this giant fence that spanned a huge part of the region, and the point of the fence was to keep the dingoes out, and to prevent them from further human encroachment or for interfering with like farms and things. But a lot of animals get caught in the dingo fence, and it became like a really big problem. Let's see if it's still a thing. This just kind of reminded me of that, but dingo fence. Okay, there we go. The dingo fence. Wow, okay. Okay, so this is it. The black line is the dingo fence. So it's kind of like the Great Wall of China, except to keep dingoes out, right? Dingoes are present in the orange areas. The light, or I guess the gold areas, the light tan areas are, present, but often high levels of lethal control, and then the white areas are absent or no data. So I didn't realize how big it is. So this crosses the entire southern part of Australia, and environmental impact. Here we go. It seems that there are fewer kangaroos and emus on the northwestern side of the fence where the dingoes are, suggesting that dingoes' presence reduces the population of those animals. Although the fence has been useful for protecting livestock against dingoes, ecologists opine that the fence is a colonial legacy that is more harmful than helpful. Let's see. Now, I think the dingo fence does entrap other animals, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a pretty, and is it still up? Yeah, that's wild. So the reason I know about this is through conservation. Steve Irwin did a special on the dingo fence, and I won't recommend pirating it, but I think it's available on YouTube. But yeah. Talking about poorly made road construction, barriers to the river sharks' progress inland, progress upriver. It just reminded me of this other barrier in Australia. So it's kind of an amazing accomplishment as far as construction goes, but it's also because it's so large and so obtrusive. It's a big problem for wildlife. So. But anyway, in Papua New Guinea, the species is caught in small-scale riverine and inshore fisheries and may be subject to habitat degradation in the Gulf of Papua and South Fly District associated with mining and logging activities. It is incidentally captured in a relatively recently developed high-value fishery for swim bladder, also known as fish maw, that targets mainly barramundi and scaly croaker in estuarine and coastal habitats. Alright, so we'll move on so we can learn more about the species, because again, there's a lot of information on this animal. So, we'll get to this conservation part in a second. I want to get kind of the general notes first. So here is the New Guinea River Shark, also known as the Northern River Shark. So, similar to other river sharks, the two dorsal fins are large. I will say the second dorsal fin is not as large as the first dorsal fin, and I think it's a little bit unique versus last week's Ganges shark or Borneo River Shark. So, and also I would say the head is not as exaggerated as the Borneo River Shark / Ganges shark. So, there he is. That's a really beautiful photo of a living individual, actually. So this is. Let me zoom in on that. So really nice photo of a northern river shark. And again, this is actually really cool to see. Look how prominent that barbel is. So I wonder if this functions kind of like a nurse shark, like something that helps heighten the sensitivity of the animal as it's swimming in murky environments. So like the rivers that it calls home. So it's really cool. All right. And then we get to really see some awesome teeth. There we go. Let me see if I can get a better view. There you go. Okay. So lovely dentition. The top teeth are actually really quite a bit broader and a lot scarier than I originally realized. When I freeze framed that that video at the top of the stream, I saw the prominent lower teeth, which definitely are piscivorous. Like those are definitely like perfect, like thin, needly fish hook-like teeth for fishes. So just like sand tiger sharks, they have teeth like this. Except, I mean, these are definitely much more peg-like, much more straight. But the top teeth they almost look like white shark teeth as far as like how triangular they are and how broad they are. And that suggests handling larger prey items. So pretty nasty dentition, like really, really effective. So really cool jaw set. You never want to get bit by this species. So. And then nice photo. That is a really good photo. Sorry. Yeah, that's a really, really good photo of this animal. So. Really great color on him, so you can tell that this was a freshly caught shark, and he's still alive. You can tell he's freshly caught and that he's still alive because of the coloration. So check out that beautiful, pearly, like indigo gray, almost like you can almost see like a little bit of green in here too. Like this really, really beautiful iridescence on this animal. And it's kind of cool to see that this is a shark that spends all of its time in murky, like brown water. That its skin it just looks so different, where it's kind of like has this like beautiful purplish, greenish, bluish, shimmering sheen. It's a really gorgeous looking skin actually. And when you see sharks in the wild, and especially if you haul them out in the water like this for like research, they do have this iridescent quality that is like extremely hard to describe. I have it burned in my memory, or burned in my brain, like the sharp-nosed sharks that I would handle, just how like vibrant they looked, or just even their eyeballs, like their, or not eyeballs, but like their eyes, like how explosive the energy is behind those eyes. So it's just sharks are in every way, in every like even nuanced ways, are just beautiful animals. So this is. Atlas of Living Australia. So we've seen this website before a couple times, so it'd be kind of cool to check out some specific notes on the northern river shark. So let's see. The northern river shark, or Guinea River Shark, is a species of requiem shark in the family Carcharinidae, found in scattered tidal rivers and associated coastal waters in northern Australia and Papua New Guinea. The species inhabits areas of poor visibility, soft bottoms, and large tides, with immature sharks ranging into fresh and brackish water. It is similar, and again, like last week, we talked about the Borneo River Shark, how the juvenile sharks like to be in more shallow habitats, kind of more like upriver habitats, where there's less competition, and the bigger sharks go further and further down the river to get closer to the sea, where there's more of a likelihood to see or to run into bigger prey items. So I really love that habitat use, across life history stages. I also kind of love that it's like life itself a little bit, where and like this is kind of near and dear to my heart, where I've been studying the Chesapeake Bay, which is an estuary, for a very long time, and when I began studying it, I focused on kind of like the freshwater tidal areas, and I was like younger. I was in my like early 20s, and then as I got older, I would explore both like in books, and then also going to these places, like going hiking, camping, snorkeling, swimming, and now diving, like I would kind of like concentrate more and more into like oceanic habitats, and it's like it's really cool that on a personal note, that was kind of like my journey, like learning things on their like basic form, and they're kind of like when you start at tidal freshwater, it's the least impacted by the ocean, and then when you go further and further down river, you get little changes here and there, that start to get more and more oceanic, and you run into bigger and bigger animals, and like more powerful wave dynamics, and saltier water, and I just think it's really cool that was something that, on a personal note, I really liked and I really appreciated. That kind of thrills me, where it's like, as you get older and as you get more experience, you push further and further that boundary, and you go further and further out. And similarly, it's really cool to see nature do that in the form of these sharks. Not every animal does this, because like there's some animals that do the reverse. But it's really cool to see that for these sharks, like the little ones, they start out in like the least complex environment, which is like low wave impact, shallow water with not a lot of biodiversity, not a lot of prey items to choose from. And then as they get bigger and bigger, they go further and further down river, where the wave action gets a little bit stronger. The salinity gets a little bit higher. The kinds of animals you see, you're more likely to see animals from the ocean. So I just think that's a really cool life history for the species. It's really fascinating. So. Northern river sharks are likely piscivorous. The species is viviparous, with females bearing litters of 9 young. So these are live-bearing sharks, which is not a surprise. They're close cousins of like other live-bearing sharks, like bull sharks and hammerheads. They give live birth as well. So, but this species is viviparous. Females bearing litters of 9 young, possibly every other year before the wet season. Very rare, and facing threats from commercial and recreational fishing, and perhaps also habitat degradation. The species has been assessed as vulnerable by the IUCN, International Union for the Conservation of Nature. So, let's see. Northern river shark has been reported from King Sound, the Ord River, Doctors Creek, the Adelaide and Alligator Rivers in Australia's Northern Territory, and the Darra region, and possibly the Fly River in Papua New Guinea. So again, each of these rivers is a different subpopulation of this species, so they don't really mingle that much, which is not good for the species as a whole. So it inhabits large rivers, estuaries, and coastal bays, all of which are characterized by high turbidity, silty or muddy bottoms, and large tides. Young and juvenile sharks are found in fresh, brackish, and salt water, salinity ranging from 2 to 36 parts per thousand. So that's an amazing range. We talked about this in detail last week, and I think on the stream prior, but like again, as a quick recap, 0 is freshwater, 0.5 to 10 is brackish, so that's kind of like slightly salty. 11 to 18 is mesohaline, so that's like moderately salty, and then 18 to about 30, let's just say 32, is like very salty, it's polyhaline, and then anything above 32, really above 30, is like true ocean water. So most sharks can't go into anything below 30. I would say like definitely below 18. Like the vast majority of sharks cannot do anything below 18 parts per thousand. And it's incredible to see that this species has such a large range, going from 2 to 36. Like as far as like the salinity scale, that is really, really unique and really rare. So bull sharks can do it and river sharks can do it, but that's not a really common ability. Not even a lot of fish can do it. Herring, bass, some eels, some drums, they can do something like that, but that's really rare in the ocean world to have such a large salinity range. So it's really cool to see an animal do it, because physiologically it's just really difficult to do that. It's kind of like I'm trying to think of like, it's like it would be I would say it would be like if we started shifting, this is probably a terrible analogy because I don't know my air chemistry very well, but like say let's shift breathing air to breathing nitrox for a very long period of time, which is probably really dangerous, actually, if you do it for a very long period of time. But or actually, air and helium, I guess. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna shut up because I don't know air chemistry as well. But basically, it's like basically breathing a different kind of air mix, and getting used to that, and then getting your body back used to breathing the normal air mix again. It's just like it's really difficult to do this physiologically. So it's amazing that sharks can. So, let's see. I won't read the whole description. This is what I'm trying to say. The head is wide and flattened. I was struggling to find the words, but that's the right way to say it. So, which is different. Bull sharks have like a blocky, stocky head, a blunt snout, and a really just it's a big animal with a lot of presence. These river sharks, wide and flattened. Great way to describe the head shape. So, let's see. In the largest individuals, the first few lower teeth from the jaw median are spear-shaped with the serrations near the tip. That's actually kind of fascinating. That's a unique tooth type. Let me go back to... Excuse me. Sorry about that. Let me go back to the photograph of the teeth. So apparently the tips of these teeth are serrated. Which is really cool and makes you think, like, what would that be for? Why would the tip... So, if you have these, like, spear-like teeth, which are ideal for, like, grasping fish, why would the tips of them be serrated? Usually sharks with, like, those kind of teeth, like the sand tiger sharks or even mako sharks, pretty smooth as far as, like, the teeth that are very long and narrow, they typically don't have serrations, so... it's kind of a cool and very unique tooth type that the tips of these are actually like a spear, So, and again, the English name for Glyphis, spear-tooth shark, very appropriate, kind of given that. So that's really cool. So, let's see. Pectoral fins are large and broad with gently backward curving margins and pointed tips. Let's see. So that's the other description I was kind of struggling with, is gently backward curving. So it's a very weird. Let's see if we could get like an illustration of a bull shark versus a river shark. Just to kind of illustrate more clearly what I'm talking about. Yeah, because like, okay, this kind of shows it. So you can see here like a bull shark has kind of like a nice like sharp looking triangle of a dorsal fin, and then the second dorsal fin is very low. River sharks don't have that. Let's see, Glyphis shark. Yeah, you see how like Glyphis, like the river sharks, like it's a lot broader looking. Just actually, this is a great example of this. You could just see how it's like so much more like it just curves further back, and the second dorsal fin is quite a bit larger. So it's a great way to tell those species apart. So okay. Let's see. No ridge exists between the dorsal fins. The shark is steel gray above and white below. The color transition is sharp, located well below the eye. The anal caudal fins become dusky or black towards the trailing margins and tips. Okay. Let's see. With its slender teeth, small eyes, and high density of ampullae lorenzini, the northern river shark seems to be adapted for hunting fish in conditions of poor visibility. So that's actually really cool because, again, bull sharks, they also live in these similar kind of environments, and they have similar kinds of eyes, as far as like having like the small, like the eyes. It's kind of shocking how similar the eyes of bull sharks and river sharks look, really. In Doctors Creek, sharks may move to and from favored feeding areas with the tide. Like other requiem sharks, the species is viviparous, with the developing embryos forming a placental connection with their mother after exhausting the supply of yolk. Females give birth around October, before the start of the wet season, on possibly a biennial cycle. One female examined contained 9 fetuses. So 9 is actually, as far as sharks go, kind of okay. It's not too low, really. Young are born about 26 inches long. Males mature lengths between 1.2 and 1.4 meters, so 3.9 to 4.6 feet. While females mature between lengths of 1.4 and 1.7 meters, 4.6 to 5.6 feet. So these get to be pretty big. The northern river shark appears to be extremely rare, though more subpopulations may remain to be discovered in Australia and Papua New Guinea. Based on present information, no more than 250 mature individuals are estimated to... Wait a minute. No. That can't be right. Hold on. Based on present information, no more than 250 mature individuals are estimated to exist in the wild, with no more than 50 in any particular subpopulation. So that's really different from the IUCN Red List and what they're saying. They're saying 2,500 to 10,000. I trust IUCN Red List. This is probably the most updated. So this entry from the Atlas of Living Australia, this might be outdated. So let's see. Because of its low natural abundance, limited distribution, stringent habitat requirements, and susceptibility to various human-caused threats, the IUCN has assessed the northern river shark as vulnerable, as well as been listed as endangered on the 1999 Commonwealth Environment Protection and Biodiversity Conservation Act and the 2000 Territory Parks and Wildlife Conservation Act. Kakadu National Park may be an important protected area for the species. No regulations restrict the capture of the species in Papua New Guinea. Interesting. So again, there's a lot of research to cover on this shark, so we'll dive into that. I will, since this is the same species, I will play this video to kind of see if there's any new footage. And there it is, Kakadu's West Alligator River. So this is the area that they mentioned. Let's see if we can get any more insights on this animal. And I'm just gonna fast forward. This is pretty much the same footage of them landing it. There we go. And they're probably talking about tagging and checking vital signs and taking measurements, kind of recording as much as they can about these animals, these little known sharks. So this is actually really cool to see. That's actually a really great shot of this animal. And again, you can actually see, again, the dorsal fins being so similarly sized. That's also kind of a cool view of handling a medium-sized shark. I appreciate how this handler is working with this animal. And it goes back to, like, the first thing about shark handling is that, sharks are pure muscle, so you can't underestimate. You can't approach them the same way you would approach land animals as far as their size goes. Like, even the smaller sharks can put up a really big fight. So you have to be really careful on like how you handle the animals. The worst thing that you can do is hold them by the tail, because that actually can break their vertebrae. And because like their front half is just so much heavier. So most people, when they land, like, not scientists but like fishermen, unfortunately, when they catch sharks, they will grab them by the tail, and that's not the right way to do it. Also, the sharks can turn and bite you, and some fishermen actually have been bitten, and you can actually see footage of that on YouTube. For smaller sharks, ironically, the thing you have to do is you have to put your thumbs underneath their jaws and kind of have a hold on their head as you work them up. This is a medium-sized shark, and I appreciate the technique where this researcher is, kind of holding on to the belly. He does have a hand on the tail, but it's not letting the shark dangle. It's kind of more like controlling movement, so the shark doesn't wriggle away from him. So one more time, just kind of gain a nice shot of this species, the New Guinea River Shark, also known as Northern River Shark. Really cool shot of the species in life. Really rare group of sharks. It's really cool to see that they are getting more attention, and more coverage. So this is the IUCN Amaryllis Australian assessment. So this might be outdated as well because this is critically endangered, but we'll take a look at it. It's cited the same number, 250 mature individuals. So I think what happened is that originally when the shark was assessed, people thought that, or scientists and conservationists thought that there were only 250 left in the wild, kind of like, you know, the vaquita a little bit, where it's, and the vaquita is even worse, but just not that many animals. And then they realized after research that there's actually 2,500 to 10,000, which really changes their conservation status. So. This is kind of copy and paste, so I'm just going to skim through this, make sure I'm not missing anything. This is actually the same, this is copy and paste verbatim from the Atlas of Living Australia. Okay, yeah, this is the same information, so we'll kind of keep pressing on. So here we go. Northern Territory Seafood Council Protected Species Fact Sheet, the freshwater sharks. So here we go. We've got a couple of them. The spear-toothed shark, Glyphis, and the Northern River Shark, Glyphis garricki, are found in only limited areas in northern Australia. Glyphis and Glyphis garricki can easily be confused with the bull shark, Carcharodontis lucus. They are three of only a very few euryhaline shark species capable of tolerating salinities ranging from freshwater to seawater. Rivers are especially important for juvenile euryhaline sharks. The pig-eye shark, which I know we talked about last week a little bit, Carcharodontis amboinensis, is another similar-looking shark species found in estuarine and coastal water. The large second dorsal fin on Glyphis sharks easily distinguishes them from bull sharks and pig-eye sharks. Over the page is a guide to identifying spear-tooth and northern river sharks from bull sharks and pig-eye sharks. Glyphis and Glyphis garricki are protected under Commonwealth and territory law. The best way to distinguish the two Glyphis species from each other is that on the spear-tooth shark, the dark dorsal margins runs through the bottom of the eye. On the northern river shark, it runs well below the eye. Oh, that's really cool. Okay. Well, let me zoom back out for a better view. Sorry about that. Okay, I will say this is a little intimidating. The image on the left, with the jaw distended, that does look a little bit close to a bull shark. So, but this is actually really cool to see that for the spear-tooth shark Glyphis, it's that gray line is right beneath the eyeball. The northern river shark Glyphis garricki, the gray line has a lot of space between. There's a lot of space between where the white bottom half of the shark is and where the eye is. So that's a very subtle characteristic, but it's really cool to see that that's one way you can tell the two species apart. So a really awesome image, actually. Really appreciate the photo comparison. So. And I love seeing subtle differences in animals too, as far as like being able to identify them on the species level. That's actually really cool that there is something like that, where you can tell these two sharks apart. Roy, hello, welcome back. Hope you had a good weekend. Good to see you. Hope things have been going well. Actually, Roy, funny story. I actually saw. I was looking up. Man, what was I looking up? It was something about. Oh no, it was dogfish. Dusky smoothhounds. It was dusky smoothhounds. I was looking up a dusky smoothhound video. And it was a dusky smoothhound in a tank. It was a research tank, and so you can see it's actually like the #1 result on YouTube. It's like a dusky smoothhound, also known as a smooth dogfish, Musculus canis. He was in a tank, and I clicked on the video, and this used to be a video that I'll confess I disliked because I didn't like seeing the shark in the tank, but I didn't realize it was a research tank. So, and they apparently let the species go. But I was looking through the comments, and I saw Roy 3000 or Roy 2000 asking, "Hey, this actually seems like a really small tank. You know, should these sharks release back into the wild?" And the YouTuber said yes. Which is great. This comment was like 6 years ago. And I saw it. Wait a minute, that's Roy. Oh my gosh. I went ahead and
I got a kick out. That's Roy. He's been advocating for sharks for years. So that was really cool. That was a fun moment. I know that guy.
It was actually kind of funny. I used to be. I would say that I had a. I can't remember what video this is, but when I started on YouTube before I had the channel. Oh, I'm so sorry. The audio is very fuzzy. Let's see. I wonder if I can change it. It's probably because of I don't want to unplug it and screw it up. Please let me know when it comes back. So, oh no, I got an actual dislike. Oh, that's a shame. Because oh, thank you, appreciate it. So, yeah, like this eCam setup is so ridiculous because what's kind of funny is that the likes and the dislikes are inverted. So there's that one stream I was getting all these like thumbs down, and I was like, wow, man, I don't know what I'm doing wrong here. And then and then I realized that, oh, it's the inverted thumbs up. It's actually it's okay. Oh no, that's okay, Roy. No worries. I appreciate it. Thank you. But it's so funny. Like on my display, it has the thumbs down, and it's like, wow, everyone hates this. And then I realized, like when I checked on YouTube later, it was the thumbs up. So it's like when you, long story short, it was like, I've had a lot of caffeine today. So but anyway, I was about to kind of go on a tangent where before I started. And it might have been right when I started this channel, I was very active. In very small bursts, I would be very active. Where some people, I think there's a video of someone with like an exotic pet, like bush babies or something, and I think I made a very heated comment of like, you really shouldn't have this as a pet, and then that exploded into this huge debate. So that's probably still floating on YouTube somewhere. And then I think since then I've kind of calmed down in my critique a little bit, where it's like, you know, a lot of commenters can be. It really like is community specific, the quality of commenters, where it's like a lot of commenters on like really big videos can be just like kind of terrible and just kind of trolls, and like it's a different kind of person you're dealing with. It's a little weird. And then some commenters are very cool and very responsive. So I went down this tangent because that interaction that you had, Roy, with that YouTuber was very positive. Like, you know, you politely pointed out a concern, and the YouTuber also politely addressed it. So I love moments like that. It's a nice example of like YouTube is kind of like a cool, like the worst of it can be really bad, but really like as we've been talking about, it's kind of cool that there's like these little sub communities that actually show a lot of love and a lot of respect for whatever their subjects are, or subject is. Ours is definitely like that. I think we have a really, really positive community, which I really appreciate. So yeah, really, really appreciate that we have all kind of contributed in a healthy way. So that's really nice, and I think the internet needs more of that. So, but let's see, sharks and fishing gear. Shark species that inhabit estuaries or rivers, such as the Glyphis species, are particularly vulnerable because of their reproductive and survival strategies are closely related to particular environments. Threats to the survival of these sharks include line fishing, gill netting, and habitat degradation. NT Northern Territory legislation has been established to ensure the commercial barramundi fisheries are excluded from a number of rivers in which the protected sharks have been recorded. These rivers are Daly River, Adelaide River, Sampan Creek, or Sampan Creek, I apologize if I'm not saying that correctly, Wildman River, South, East, and West Alligator Rivers, and Murganella Creek. So, yeah, totally. Last thing I want is to start any sort of war in the YouTube comments. Yeah, and I hear you on that because agreed, Howard, 100%. Because like, I think the nefarious thing, and I will say that this, I did something. This must have been like maybe a decade ago. I briefly had like a little Dr. Jaws Reddit page. Or no, Reddit account. I think I had a Reddit account, not a page, like a Reddit account. And, I literally, like, I think I wrote a comment, like, something about, like, hey, Basking Shark Scotland does a really cool thing. And then I got this really hateful, terrible response, for that comment. And I literally asked that community, is like, why was this a problem? And other people said, I don't really know. And it kind of goes to show that, like, there can be a very, what's the word? It can be very, it can easily, it's like that interaction was very dumb and and like, it's just some weird person on the other end, not being nice, right? But like when you don't know who's talking on the other side and you see this like faceless name, it's quite easy to imagine that being like an omnipresent thing, right? And it's weird. It's kind of like I'm kind of elaborating on this a little bit too much, but it's like it's worth kind of avoiding interacting with those kinds of people in general. Like if you can have like a healthy debate, or a healthy discussion, that's awesome, and it's great that online can facilitate that. But there's so many people who are genuinely very odd as far as like just inflicting like, yeah, Howard, yeah, exactly, thank you. That's a great summary of what I'm trying to say. Some people are only happy when they are miserable. Yeah, like that's a great way to say it. Where it's like it's just not worth even engaging. It really isn't. It's just like because it's kind of what they want, and it's kind of like it doesn't even phase them probably. Like it's kind of this weird like asymmetric warfare, if you will. Yeah, Rory. Yeah, people can be easily very egotistical and weird online. It's unhealthy. 100%. Like, and it's just like, I think once you identify that you're not going to get a fair shake, I feel like in a weird way it's kind of empowering. Where it's like, you know what, I'm just going to disengage. This is a weird person and not really somebody who cares about the subject or like, respects my time and like, why should I respect theirs? So, yeah. So I love, and it's kind of cool to see that those people are not the norm. It's really more like what community are they a part of and like what's attracting them to that community. So if it's like a really big like IP or like a news station or like a like something that's really general and huge, you can get more of that stuff. But if it's something that's like really neat, I've noticed like the niche YouTube channels or like the small audience, like very specific ones, awesome. It's such a different quality in the comments, and it's really fascinating to see actually. So, but anyway, yeah. Sorry. Thank you for indulging that tangent. but yeah. Let's see. So for the river sharks, I really do like this like little pamphlet comparing them to the bull and pig-eye shark. If caught on a line or in a net, freshwater sharks have a good chance of survival if they are carefully and quickly released. Now, this is interesting. This is a little bit different from the Australian Living Atlas Australia article about river sharks, which said that they are very sensitive to gill nets. So, if caught on a line or a net, and yeah, it's kind of interesting. This is saying that they have higher survival, but Atlas of Living Australia is like, no, river sharks are a little bit, like the Glyphis species are a little bit more sensitive. So, ensure crew are able to easily identify protected freshwater shark species from similar species such as bull sharks. Techniques for avoiding or minimizing the impacts of fishing gear on protected freshwater sharks include avoiding areas where they are known to occur, checking gear regularly, and ensuring nets and its catch are not allowed to dry out. Okay, reporting interactions. This is really cool. I really love that there's a lot more material on this species than the Borneo river shark from last week. An interaction is any physical contact a person, boat, or fishing gear has with a protected species. Interactions with protected species are required to be reported to the Australian Government Department of the Environment within 7 days. Contact details are over the page. All interactions should also be accurately recorded on log returns. Records should include the date of interaction, approximate length of the shark, location, and whether the shark was released alive or dead. So this is really cool citizen science. I mean, like, not really cool because like you don't want to like hook the shark, but really cool in the sense that okay, there's something and there's a program where you can have people involved, with keeping an eye on the species well-being. I really love that. In like where I am, I participate in that in different ways. So the big one is marine mammal stranding or sea turtle stranding. So in the Chesapeake Bay, we actually, and this is through the Virginia Aquarium, we do have sea turtle stranding or marine mammal hotline. And I did see, this was late last year, I might have talked about it one of the streams, but I did see a washed up dolphin. And this was actually a dolphin juvenile. So it wasn't a fully grown dolphin. It was like but it wasn't a newborn either. It was like a juvenile dolphin. And I reported it, like all the details, to the marine mammal hotline. And on a happier note, they also simultaneously have the Chesapeake Bay Dolphin Watch. Yeah, Chesapeake Bay Dolphin Watch. So I, report like the stranded ones, but I also report the ones that I see in the bay, that are alive and in their pods. And they ask you like, how many individuals are you seeing? Where do you see them? Are you noticing any unusual behavior? And it's really cool. Like citizen science like that is really cool because when you have all these people, kind of contributing to data, they can paint a picture of an animal's like location, behavior, and ultimately kind of help as far as their conservation concerns, or as far as conservation is concerned. So, so I love citizen science like that. I love that. Hey, if you do see this animal, it is a big deal. Please let people know about it. So it's really cool that Australia has that for river sharks. So now, let me see if I can zoom out a little bit because I know I've been... Okay, here we go. So we've got these species. So we've got the pig-eye shark, which is really notoriously difficult to tell apart from a bull shark. But pig-eye sharks have... Oh, thank you, Roy. Heck yeah. Tall dorsal fin, more than 3 times as high as a second dorsal fin. So tall first dorsal fin. Bull shark, triangular dorsal fin, second dorsal fin, 1/3 the height. So the proportion of the dorsal fins are different between the pig-eye shark and a bull shark. I love my thumbnail on the pig-eye shark stream where like it's comparing the two species. I think I have that somewhere. Like just for laughs. Like, let's see if we can get that. If this is gonna load, this might screw up my audio. Also, our community is growing. We're at 280 now, so still a powerful microscopic channel. But that's actually a lot more than we had last year, so it's really exciting to see that. Pig-eye shark. And look at that, we've covered a lot of streams. So this one was a while ago. Okay. This is in the Carchariniform playlist, so I should go get that. It's also a good tour of the channel where, we got a couple, don't mind the, don't mind the playlist of music videos I like. Okay, let's see if we can get, I wanted to get the thumbnail of the Pig-eye Shark stream. Can I just get the playlist? Home. For you. Okay, sorry, I should have done this. There we go. Carchariniforms ground sharks. Sorry, this is such a long side tangent. I do like organizing it like this, so this is a lot of fun to have the different the major orders of sharks. There you go. Okay, finally. Man, that took forever. Okay, I just wanted to say I was proud of this thumbnail of the pig-eye shark versus the bull shark. So these are two photographs of pig-eye shark versus bull shark. And the pig-eye shark is the one on the top. The bull shark is the one on the bottom. And the point of this was these are just two. They're so similar looking that it's almost impossible to tell them apart. So that took forever for me to pull it up. But thank you for indulging me. There you go. They're just very similar looking. It's nice to know that for the river sharks, they do draw attention again to the dorsal fin height. I know I've been mentioning this over and over again this stream and last stream too. But it is such an important characteristic where you can see that the two dorsal fins for the river sharks, the Glyphis species, are actually, very similar in size and look like that proportion looks just so different from the pig-eye shark or the bull shark. So, really cool to see that. Also, I never noticed this. Large anal fin, similar in height to second dorsal fin, with no notch. So, it's like a lemon... Oh, hey, Roy, I like that comment. It's like a lemon bull mix. It really is, actually. That's a great point, because it's weird. It has the coloration of a bull shark. It has the eyes of a bull shark, but it has, like, the dorsal fin size of a lemon shark. So it's really... That's a really great observation. So, and also, I really like the head comparison, too. So, pig-eye shark, broad head with hooked nostrils. Bull shark, broad... blunt head with straight nostrils, and then a river shark, broad angled snout. What's kind of cool to see here is that physically they're not even going to bother comparing the spear-tooth shark or the northern river shark because they look too similarly. Instead, they're going to say you have to rely on color. Where that line is of gray in the spear-tooth shark versus northern river shark. So I really like this little guide, this Northern Territory Seafood Council guide. So shout out to that. It's just really cool. More information, threatened species in Northern Territory on the northern river shark. So love species that have a lot of material on them. Wow, okay. This is interesting. So known localities before 2000, we have a couple different sites here, and then 2000 to 2019. A couple different sites marked by the white circles, and then 2000 to 2019 dark gray circles. So not as much, but here is Kakadu National Park. So it's kind of cool to see that, we had a lot of sightings in Kakadu, and this really might make Kakadu a very important, and especially important place to visit. So, actually, let's see if we can get to the Kakadu National Park website. Kakadu National Park. Let's see. Okay. I don't know if you can hear the SimCity 4 soundtrack. It's starting to get a little better, because in the top of the stream it was actually starting to annoy me, and then now it's kind of that fun ethereal music that I like more. So here we go. So Kakadu National Park. Okay. Our land has a big story. Sometimes we tell a little bit at a time. Come and hear our stories. See our land. A little bit might stay in your hearts. If you want more, you come back. Jacob Nyingul Manilakar clan. Hey Minjas, what's up? Welcome back. Good to see you. Hope you had hope school's been good. Are you on spring break? And if so, hope you're having a fun time. Hope you had a good weekend. But we're covering. I'm glad you're here for this river shark stream. Because we did one last week, and the discussion really got exciting as far as this is actually really cool. Wow, this is really cool. The discussion got really exciting, so it's really cool to revisit this group of sharks. So, croc spotting. Look at that, man. There's a lot to do at this park. Croc spot, I cannot imagine a part. We have alligators in the southern United States, so not in Virginia, but further south than that. But the idea of going to a national park for croc spotting, that's terrifying and awesome. So, crocodile safety video, crocodile safety. Let's see. Wow. I wonder if they have That's actually really exciting. I do want to see the rock art too. So this might be an especially like a special place for river shark protection. Wow, look at this one. Hey, so glad to be back. Sadly not on spring break, but I had some classes off today. Awesome, awesome. Oh, thank you. I'm not exhausted as usual. Honestly, I'm super excited for semester end so I can watch it like regularly again. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Minjas. Thank you. This rock art, by the way, is just so beautiful. Like, look at this. Like this clipper ship, like so beautifully detailed here. So cool. Rock art at Nangu Lawur. So interesting. I am very curious to see if they have a species guide, and then we'll go back to the shark. But let's see. Kakadu in under 3 minutes. Actually, you know what? Let's do Kakadu in under 3 minutes. Yeah. Let's see. Stop guessing. Start doing. I really want to see what this area looks like, as far as like. Oh, and actually, let me zoom out because I see that I'm just showing the bottom screen. There we go. Okay. Okay, so this is really cool. So there's the river, or one of the rivers, and you can see kind of. Oh wow! So we got like an egret, these like kind of ox-looking things, waterfalls. Wow! Look at this place. It's amazing to think that this is a spot where it could be a hotspot for the northern river shark, also known as the New Guinea River Shark. Like, this could be a place that is especially important for their protection. It's also, again, it's wild to see crocodiles because, you know, like, I'm used to alligators, which, oh, the rock art is beautiful. I'm used to alligators, which are relatively inoffensive. Crocodiles are a lot more aggressive, so it's kind of cool to see that there's a national park with crocodiles in it. But this looks amazing. What I am kind of curious about is, like, are there interactions between river sharks and crocodiles? And there probably are, because that is something that's been documented in other shark species. Bull sharks and crocodiles have interactions. Surabaya, the city in Indonesia that we talked about last week, famously has a kangaroo. Look at that! Look at that! Famously has look at these. Are they cockatoos? Famously have that statue of a crocodile and a shark battling for territorial rights. So based on history, those they symbolize entities, like tribal entities in Indonesia, that were battling for territorial rights. So, man, but this place looks amazing. So it's super cool. Oh, Bruce, what is the most aggressive animal you have ever worked with? That's a good question. It depends. Man, that's a really good question. It depends. Let's see. That's a great question because it's like it depends on. If you're talking about like physically like worked up, probably the smaller sharks, because there's a lot of like dangerous animals I've been around, but I've not worked them. Like I haven't touched them or handled them. I've kept my distance. So I would say the most aggressive animal I've ever worked with is probably one of like the smaller sharks, which is really not that aggressive to be honest. I would say as far as like as far as attitude, it's probably hake. As far as like feeding hake, which are completely harmless. They just really love food. Or maybe scuba diving with bluegill. No, actually, no. Okay, so this is not really working. This is actually not working with an animal, but this is. I totally got an answer now. Okay, this is not working with an animal, but this is definitely like encountering an animal. This is sergeant majors. I did an aquarium dive in North Carolina. This was like a decade ago. And sergeant majors are small striped fish that you see in aquariums and on coral reefs. They're very common, and they look completely harmless, and they are completely harmless. They are itty bitty, but attitude wise, those things can take on so much, and like they did not care that I was literally 100 times their size. Like they would actually charge me and bite me. I recently did a dive in the Baltimore Aquarium a couple months ago, and the dive brief mentioned sergeant majors, and I was like, oh no, no. Unfortunately, they didn't really interact with me. What's kind of funny is like Dories, yeah. What's kind of funny is that sharks in aquariums tend to be pretty chill. But the little fish are the ones that have an attitude. Like, literally, that tank had a green moray, which, I didn't want to get close to it, but the green moray was, like, really chill, But it's like the little fish. I've been bitten by little fish. Like, I've been bitten by sergeant majors. I've been bitten by sheep's heads. I've been bitten by bluegills. Like, little harmless fish that people don't, and they are still completely harmless. But, they have an attitude. So I would say, as far as aggressive, I guess little fish. And I really shouldn't say that the sharks I've worked up have been aggressive. Like they have actually, but they've been fine because they fight back, but they're like, they're within their rights to do that. So, the most dangerous animals I've encountered have been cottonmouths. I've seen one in the wild. I've seen a couple in other places, but one for sure in the wild, which I was really excited to go after it and look for it, because I went to, there's a place in Virginia Beach called Back Bay National Wildlife Refuge, and then south of that is False Cape State Park, which is a great place to camp. I love camping there, and they had cottonmouths, and I really like vipers. I just think they're very interesting. So I really wanted to go look for one. And I was walking down the path, and then I hear a hiss, and I see something leap up. And it was a cottonmouth that didn't expect me coming. So he just leapt up to make me know that he was there. And it was super exciting because oh, finally I got to see one. And then I immediately felt really nervous. Where it's I like snakes. I don't like I don't fear snakes, but being without any kind of barrier, and the snake wouldn't bother me or anything, but being without any kind of barrier, miles away from any road, I started to realize this could go really wrong. Where if that particular snake bit me, I would need medical attention, and I don't really have an easy way to get it. I would have to call the park ranger, and I don't know how long they would take to get out there. So, it's I would say that's probably the most thrilling, dangerous animal encounter I've had has been with a cottonmouth. And then I have been near alligators before, because I used to work in Florida. We had I've told the story before, but we had a behemoth near. It was in the office I used to work in. There was this giant alligator that, I'm not exaggerating. It was as long as a car. I never have seen an animal that I was you cannot be real. You cannot be, because we had a couple alligators in our pond. And there was a little individual, there was a medium-sized individual, and there was a big one. And it was oh, this is really cool. And we wanted to get close and kind of take pictures, but we were also kind of it's probably not the smartest idea. So normal interactions, right? We had no idea that this Goliath alligator was in this area. And then one day we went out to the parking lot, and this thing was just walking. And I look at it compared to one of my coworkers like compact cars. I was like, that's as big as that car. Like that thing is massive. So just wild stuff. So I would say the most dangerous animals I've seen in the wild would be American alligators. The most thrilling dangerous animal encounter has been the cottonmouth. I've seen copperheads. I actually almost stepped on a copperhead, which are they are dangerous, but they're not lethal. Like if I got bit by a copperhead, I probably wouldn't need medical attention. I'd probably be okay. It is a viper, but the venom is like 1/10 as toxic as a cottonmouth or a timber rattlesnake, which I've not seen yet. So size to what car though? Yeah. I've seen black bears. I like our Canadian friends probably know this. I did not know that moose were scary dangerous. Like like I've only seen one moose when as a kid in the distance, very very far away, like from a car. So very safe moose encounter. But I had no idea that moose were dangerous. I always thought moose were like, it's a moose. It's like a goose. It's like, it's a moose. I don't know. I don't know. It's like a giraffe, I guess. I don't know. And I was very wrong. Yes, Minjas, moose are beasts. Bruce, I actually had the opposite experience. I was tagging salmon with the DFO last year, and one of the morons we had with us was throwing away dead spawners. They found the shore rather than the water. It attracted a black bear. It was honestly a lot smaller than I thought. It was kind of cute. Oh, that is adorable. I will say, I really would be scared being in grizzly bear country, because I'm not in grizzly bear country. Black bears are relatively okay. They can be dangerous in their own way, but I can't imagine going on a hike with grizzly bears. Oh man. This is a fun question. I'm trying to think of other dangerous animals. I've seen. This is complete safe experience, but I've seen scalped hammerhead sharks in the wild, and they are, they're a large shark. So they were potentially dangerous. What else? I feel like I'm slowly going through everything. Coyote, but a really big one in Florida, a really freaky big one actually. Wait till they shed their velvet. Watching a murder horse with 8 feet of gore hanging from the antlers is something you won't forget. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I have a friend who is really afraid of moose. Or I forget if it was her brother, but one of them is extremely afraid of moose, where it's they are just freaky. I think moose can also have a zombie thing going on, where my dad moved to Maine 15 years before I was born. He would never stop telling me about how he moved there and immediately saw a bull moose charging through his backyard. He was a Marine and told me that was the most terrifying experience of his life. Wow, I can imagine. Wow, because I think is it moose lock in for no reason? Is it true that moose can have a parasite? So it's kind of like The Last of Us, The Last of Moose or something, where it's they can have a parasite that overrides their brain, and it changes. Deer wasting disease can affect them as well. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, because I thought they had a disease. So, yeah, I should. Hey, Bibia, what's up? Welcome back. Thank you. Appreciate you being here, Bibia. We are talking about moose. So, also, yeah, we should copyright that game, The Last of Moose. Actually, and now it's a series, The Last of Moose. So it's The Last of Us, but it's all going to star moose now. So. Man, what else? I'm trying to think of other dangerous animals that I've seen or encountered in the wild. I heard that chronic wasting disease can sometimes affect moose. Trying to think about it because of the thought of, yeah. I've seen stingrays, but they're more hazardous, not dangerous. Scorpions, which are the one yeah. Scorpions are not terrible. I think I told you guys I used to have scorpions in my apartment in Florida, right? Like that was a nightmare. That was a complete nightmare. Because like the thing was you could not predict where they were. Like I literally had one on. I had a scorpion on my living room carpet, a scorpion on the doorway of my closet, and then a scorpion in my toilet. Awful. It was awful. So like just. Because like I've never had an animal that like I simultaneously like thought was super cool, but also just super scary. Like because cockroaches I hate. Like, and actually I think I have a little bit of a phobia of cockroaches. Like they are really freaky for me, and I know they're very common and everything, but like cockroaches freak me out, and I wouldn't go near cockroaches. Scorpions, they don't freak me out, and I can much more easily manipulate and handle them, and like, you know, or like not literally grab them, but just like put them like in a little box or something, and like or kill them or something. Like I don't feel bad about doing that. But that was a really weird encounter where it's just like it's. I can't predict where it's going to be, and I think it's really cool, because like what happened was, so okay, sorry, this is more it's probably more information you guys need, but like what happened was, and I'm going to emphasize this is when I was single. I'm just going to emphasize that when I was single, I would be kind of merciful to the spiders, because like, you know what, spiders are okay, like, you know, they catch bugs, you know, they clean, you know, if there's like a spider that has like a web in like a corner crawl space area or something, I'm like, you know what, you keep your web, I'm okay, you know, you're cool, I'm cool, we're cool, no one's coming over here, you can live your life, right? So like I'm cool with spiders, and when I was single I was like, and like I had a very clean apartment, but like, you know, there was areas where the spiders were fine. I was like, you know what, you can just live here. You help keep things clean, right? So apparently, scorpions love to eat spiders, and that's kind of like what they're evolved to do, almost. Like scorpions and like the whole like they can do the pincher thing and then like, you know, stab with like the stinger. They're great spider hunters, and so apparently what I was doing inadvertently was kind of creating a pro-scorpion habitat where it's because I was letting the spiders live. Man, the scorpions were totally okay with it, and they came into my apartment. That was not fun. So I would say Florida, I had the most pests in Florida, and not, I guess not pests, but like I had the most house guests in Florida as far as animals, because we had. And it's just the area, like sugar ants, spiders, scorpions, and geckos. I've actually had geckos sneak into my apartment, which is kind of funny, because you think like a lizard couldn't do that, but like I've had tiny geckos that would sometimes come in. So yeah, I've had in the house I grew up in, we had a salamander come into our house, and a ringneck snake, which is completely harmless, come in as well. So. It's kind of funny, like how reptiles and amphibians can like get into these spaces. So, yeah, I appreciate this comment. I thought they were just general insect hunters. It says a lot, but I've learned way too much about general life from your shark study party streams. Thank you. And actually, honestly, this is such a fun question. Let me know. What about you guys? What are the most dangerous animals that you've encountered? Either like working them up, or just kind of. You know, seen in the wild. So I'm gonna put cottonmouth as mine. That's definitely the most thrilling one I've had. Yeah, because it's like that was a scenario where I just didn't have anywhere to go. And like and to emphasize, not to be like sensationalizing. Ooh, Roy, the lionfish in aquarium. Oh, wait a minute. Wait, did you handle lionfish? Because that would be scary. Oh, Howard, that's a good one. A bat. Because bats have a high risk of rabies, so that's actually extremely dangerous. So that's a great one. A bat in the cottage, what a panic. Yeah, no, that's a really good answer. Yeah, I would say I was about to say that I don't want to like over sensationalize the cottonmouth thing because the snake, like all snakes, some can be aggressive, but like most snakes want to keep to themselves. Ooh, Bruce. Bruce is awesome. Bull moose that had become used to humans. He would sleep next to our campsite and try to steal things. That is really freaky. That is actually really terrifying because it's like it kind of makes me think of like an elephant or something. Like you know how like elephants that are accustomed to humans, like I guess like Indian elephants more so. Like it still is like such a massive animal that I would be very uncomfortable. So. Ooh, Bibia, Dr. Josh for next week. Homopterus spinax. If y'all agree on possible, like to see them. I think the species is not done yet. Yeah, I would love to do that. That's a great suggestion. Let me double check. I'm going to check on the Squall Form chat. Let's see. Or not chat. The Squall Form playlist. So, ooh, Howard. I've run into wolves and a bear, but both encounters ended peacefully. That is so cool. I'm really curious, like, what was the wolf story? Like, what happened with the wolves specifically? Because I would be so nervous because they're like, you know, like they're pack hunters. They're very smart. So, just not me because I like to say I'm smarter than my brother. But my brother used to work night shifts, and one time he got home and mistook a porcupine for a stray cat we were taking care of. Oh my gosh, did he pet it? Oh my gosh, that's. I've never seen a porcupine in the wild, and we do have them in the mountains of Virginia, but I've never seen one. I would kind of love to from a distance, like, oh my gosh, I love this chat, guys. It's really fun. Let's see. I'm gonna check Homopterus spinax. Let's see. So we've got squalliforms. Let's double check. So we've got shark, ninja lantern shark. Pocket shark. I need to double check. Is that the great lantern shark? Let's see. Because that Homopterus spinax is a famous species, so I'm really excited to cover it. Velvet belly. Sorry, velvet belly. All right, yeah, you're right. We have not done it, so yeah, Bibia, let's do it. Velvet. Belly lantern shark. All right, guys. So yeah, let's do the velvet belly lantern shark and Homopterus spinax next week. That will be our shark for next week. So, oh my gosh, I love this conversation. So just catching up. Porcupines are super adorable. Fun tangent. We gotta stay on topic. All right, so we'll get back to our river shark. So this is actually really great that we got the shark for next week because we're not that close to 11 yet. So we'll go ahead and keep looking at river shark information. So and I'll skim the rest. So Howard, wait, one more tangent. Sorry. I was setting up camp after canoeing all day, and a big white wolf appeared from the bush quite nearby and stared me down for a minute before moving on. Wow! I'm going to start that. That's amazing. That is super cool. That is such a cool moment. Wow, I cannot imagine. That is super, super cool. That actually, like, yeah, that's really awesome, man. That's fantastic. I've never seen wolves in the wild. The closest I've seen is coyotes, and there was one I followed. There was a big one that I followed into a reserve in Florida that was near my apartment, which was not a smart thing to do because it's just like if a coyote is like big enough, it would. It's not the most. They usually are kind of small, but they're not an animal you want to like harass. But it just was such a cool thing that I was just like it was fun to follow it in to the trail. So I followed it in for a little bit and then got a couple of like pictures of it and then went on my way. So it's kind of interesting. Florida has coral snakes, and I still have not seen one. That was one thing that I would say of all the land animals that I really wish I saw when I lived in Florida. I really wish I've seen a coral snake because those are really beautiful, super dangerous, like super super dangerous. Like they are cousins to cobras. and extremely toxic, extremely venomous. So, Bruce, I remember one time I was volunteering at a reptile rescue center. They had some pet skunks. They were surrendered. They were descented. Let's see. Oh, no worries, Bibia. No worries, because I know it's morning over there, but yeah, no, this is. I really appreciate your suggestion for next week. So, Bruce, I was cleaning the cage. I need to move one of them so I can grab a rag from under for the laundry. Oh my goodness. Like, what are I'm kind of curious. What are skunks like personality wise? Because I love like when you take care of animals, you see their behaviors and you see like little nuances. So I'm kind of curious. You would have thought I destroyed his pride and broke his self confidence. Amazing. Oh my gosh, that's incredible. He just looks so defeated. Oh my gosh. So let's see. Get back to the Northern River Shark. In Australia, so Australia's conservation status is endangered. Northern Territory is endangered. It's cool to see that these are based on things that are not IUCN Red List. So IUCN Red List used to say this species was critically endangered. Now it says it's vulnerable. The regional guides are saying it's endangered. So Northern River Shark is 2-3 meters long. That actually can get kind of big. That's about 9 feet long total. So 2 to 3 meters, it could be like 6.5 to about 9 feet. So let's see. Distribution. I'm just going to skip through this just to see if I can get tidbits of new information. The fact that it's not on in Antagonized. The fact I think you're right. That is actually right for Antagonized. So the fact that it's not on in coastal marine areas, despite considerable fishing and collecting activity in these habitats, suggests as restricted with shallow brackish reaches of large rivers. Again, that I think is so cool because bull sharks, typically can be found in freshwater and saltwater. It's very typical to see a bull shark in like Bimini or like, coastal South Africa or like Fiji. Like, it's like these are really, these areas are just as important for bull sharks and populated by bull sharks as are the rivers, right? So I think it's so fascinating to see that the river sharks, like the Glyphis sharks, you don't really see them on the coast comparatively. I think that's really interesting. It's actually really alarming because, if you're concentrating in a riverine habitat, you're more susceptible to human impact and threat, which is really sad. But I do think ecologically it's really interesting to see a shark that's just like even more insular and can, like is less associated with the ocean than bull shark. It's kind of wild to think about. Let's see. Potential threats in Northern Territory waters include illegal fishing and mortality resulting from entanglement in commercial gill nets. Negative impacts from fishing activities have been reduced, but illegal fishing, including the use of juveniles as bait in crab fisheries, is an ongoing threat. Ooh. The deliberate capture and destruction of northern river sharks is illegal in the Northern Territory. Conservation objectives and management. Current conservation priorities for the northern river shark are to determine the distribution of the species across the Northern Territory, extend close kin mark recapture estimates beyond the Van Diemen Gulf in order to improve understanding of the species abundance and status throughout the Northern Territory, monitor and limit the impacts of fishing in estuarine areas, and increase compliance as any take of the species is legal. And 4, educate fishers on the identification and protection of northern river shark, as the degree of the legal take is probably due to misidentification and ignorance. Gotcha. So, let's see. I'm going to skim through this. Approved conservation advice for the northern river shark, Glyphis garricki. Also known as the New Guinea River Shark. So again, this is a great example of why scientific names are just so important, because it can be very confusing very easily. This episode's title is New Guinea River Shark because that's the official FAO name from the FAO guide. But, as always, the Latin name is the one that can help. Or like that, the one that anchors the entire species. So Glyphis garricki. I appreciate Howard. I love this comment about the skunk with the mean disposition. That's really funny. Kind of love that, like skunks carrying their weight. I just think that's really funny because they're very cute looking animals with, and I know they have the infamous smell and everything, but yeah, just skunks with attitude are really funny. So let's see, medium-sized whaler shark. This is actually a really cool little comment. So it's weird that Carcharodontidae, the family Carcharodontidae in, I guess, the United States and Canada, is called requiem sharks, which I think is a bizarre name. You know, it's just, I don't understand why they're called that, and but that's what they're called, right? And for me, I don't think that really sticks. You know, it's just not as good as like hammerhead sharks. Like hammerhead shark, that's a great family name because you can easily tell what that is. In Australia, the family Carcharodontidae is called whaler sharks, and it's kind of cool. And I feel like whalers make more sense. They sound more epic. They kind of indicate that these are larger sharks, in the sense that some of them, and really the superfluous examples, so this is specifically dusky sharks, go after whales. So, you know, as in like they will hunt whales. Bull sharks also hunt cetaceans. So bull sharks will go after porpoises and dolphins. So in that sense, Carcharodontidae being called whaler sharks, I think is really great. Requiem sharks, I don't really get it. You know, I guess a requiem, if I'm not mistaken, it's like a funeral dirge or something. I don't know. It's like, it's weird. You know, Requiem for a Dream, which is a really disturbing movie. Like, I don't know. I don't like it. You know, whaler sharks make more sense. So, you know, I think Jared Leto was in Requiem for a Dream. I don't know. If you guys have never seen that movie, I don't recommend it because it's really disturbing. So, oh my gosh. Let's see. These are more descriptions, so we'll kind of move on. Although I like this verbal description of the color. So tonal junction extending well below the eye and dark areas visible in head and ventral view. Let's see. Oh, I actually kind of like this. So, wait a minute. Okay, wait. This is really interesting. So, hold on. Howard, there's an infamous movie called A Requiem of Sharks in which an actor was bitten. Interesting. I'm going to look that up, actually. Before I do, Mingus, interesting, in my opinion, Requiem Shark sounds more fantastical to me, but it's also, it's a cool words mean different things to different people moment. Actually, I'm going to start that. That's actually really cool, because, like, I mean, you know what? Like, I do like that, and that's a really good point, because, you know, all sharks are, like, beautiful, and all sharks are, like, every shark has that, like, command, that kind of, like, that grace, you know? And if requiem, that word, like, captures that, you know, I think that's totally valid, and I really respect that, actually. So that's actually really awesome. Roy, when I hear Requiem, I always think of Alien vs. Predator Requiem, the worst movie in the franchises. So, or franchise. Oh my gosh. I learned that, I tried to watch it the other day, Alien vs. Predator was the highest grossing. I don't know why I know this. This is a really random piece of trivia, because I've been watching a playlist of, like, American Best Pictures and highest grossing films, and Canadian Best Pictures and highest grossing films, as well as documentaries. And I watched Crazy, or Crazy, which is really good. That was a really good movie. But anyway, the random piece of trivia I learned was that Alien vs. Predator was, like, the highest grossing Canadian film in 2003. It was, like, the highest grossing film produced in Canada from 2003. So fun trivia. Alien vs. Predator is a Canadian gem. But no, I've been watching a lot of American and Canadian films lately, and my favorite Canadian ones have been Crazy, or Crazy. I don't know which way to say that movie. The Corporation is a great documentary, and then Manufactured Landscapes, also a really good documentary. So, But yeah, let's see. I love that comment, Roy. Okay, so Requiem of Sharks. I really want to know what this is. Requiem. A Requiem of Sharks, novel suspense. Interesting. So, a Requiem of Sharks movie. The Requiem is a... I don't know if this is it. 2022 American horror thriller film. Yeah, I don't know if this is... Is this it? No, this may not be it. Oh no, this might be it. A Requiem for Sharks. I'm very curious about this, so... Oh, it was from the 60s, got you. Now that... You know what? Okay, so I'm having like... Hold on. 60s movie. Okay, so I can't find it. Wait a minute. The Requiem... Okay, I can't find it, but I think I've heard of this, and like this is like a deep cut, like because I think there was like a '90s a '90s documentary that was talking about sharks in the history of film and television, and it may have mentioned this movie, so not 100% sure, but that's actually like I have to look into that more because a Requiem of Sharks. I feel like I've heard this story before about an actor being bitten, but really interesting. So, oh my gosh. Oh yeah, I believe the unedited version was banned. That would make sense. Yeah, because it's like that's, and I really appreciate that. Like, there's a couple of infamous horror movies that their methods were, scrutinized very heavily, and it totally makes sense that that movie was banned because it's depicting a real shark bite. There was a really lurid, I think it was Brazil, like a Brazilian shark attack video that actually was unedited and aired. Like just like the damage a bull shark, I want to say, caused to an individual's leg, and that was I watched it while writing the Bull Shark Compendium because it was just like, it was hard to watch. I think I approached that situation with respect as far as like kind of understand, like not getting any like weird creepy thrill out of it or anything, just kind of like respecting like this is an interaction between this animal and a human, and like this is what this animal can do. So, but that video quickly got blurred. I think the blurred version is online still, but like that video quickly got removed for very appropriate reasons. So, and it kind of makes me really sad that like Shark Week will show. I know I keep bashing on Shark Week, and I really shouldn't, but because like some of it has improved a lot. But Shark Week will like show, like glimpses of shark attack videos or like sensationalize those shark attack incidences, and it's just like nah, it's getting into like that. It's kind of like the true crime stuff, which it's like some true crime stuff is good. Some true crime stuff gets a little bit like why are we watching this? Like, this is just a little bit like we're making a show out of something that's really horrible. So I don't know, random tangent, but oh, hey, for real, at the same time, I like this comment, Minjas. At the same time, it feels like good for archival purposes example. At the same time, things like that can be hard to conceptualize. Thank you, Minjas. That's actually, I'm going to start that, because that was a beautiful way to summarize what I'm trying to say, and I really appreciate that, actually, because that's the right way to say it, where I love sharks, and I want to understand the entire spectrum of them, like their whole dimension, and it gets back to like a bull shark is a beautiful animal, it's a very powerful animal, and it is in certain situations a very dangerous animal, and that's part of its reality. It's a uniquely opportunistic predator that's uniquely large with uniquely huge and very capable dentition that's meant for marine mammals, sea turtles, big fish, like that. That's an animal that will, that can be harmful or that can pose harm. And that's what it is, And I think confronting that and being honest about it, I think in the interesting way is like a healthy thing to do. It's kind of like you're understanding the animal on its terms, It's very different. It's the right thing to do and very different from some people, and one individual in particular, from the early 2000s, who thought that they could be friends with a bull shark and thought they could do this like Zen meditation with them or something, and got bit by one, because that was a scenario in which they were not respecting what these animals were, what these animals can do. It's like you really have to show that reverence where it's like, sharks are beautiful and amazing, but you must remember what some species are, and like, just be mindful of what you're doing around them, and respect their space, Roy True Crime be like, they stabbed him 70 times, they pulled it out. I love that. That's really funny. That's so true. It's so true. And it's like, they say it like, I love that the true crime stuff like presents these things like with such a straight face and such like you have to be aghast by all this stuff, but it's just like they keep piling up all the just all the wrongs, all the horrors, where it's like, but you want to watch this, and we want you to see it's ridiculous. So, oh my gosh. Bibia, I'm surprised that the bull shark is only a bit longer than the pig eye. Thought bull sharks would be 4 to 5 meters because they're notorious, I guess. So it's actually really interesting. That brings up an interesting point, that it's fascinating that the 4 most dangerous sharks in the world, they do vary quite a bit in size, where you've got 2 very large sharks, the great white and the tiger shark. They both get to be massive. I think great whites max at 20 feet. And let me convert that to me. Actually, well, let me pull up the sizes really quick. So, white shark max length. Or actually, I should do this scientific name. Carcharodon calcareus. Max length. Okay, so 21 feet, which is 6 meters for a white shark. Gallicera cuvier. 18 feet, 5.5 meters. So, those are 2 very large sharks. Bull shark, I should know this. It's like 3.5 meters. Four meters. So 13 feet. Or typically 3.4. So it's kind of right. 11 feet, but 4 meters is their max length. 13 feet. And then finally, oceanic white tip. 4 meters, 13 feet. So, okay. So it's kind of interesting that there's 2 different size classes for the most dangerous sharks. You have like the tiger shark and the white shark being massive, and then the bull shark and the oceanic white tip being, kind of more mid-size. And they all share, the thing that they all share in common is just the teeth, like the size of the teeth. Proportionally, those teeth are extremely large relative to their body size. They're really large teeth, and the actual tooth size themselves across all 3 species is very large. So that's the one thing that they share. Their food habits are really different too, because like white sharks are active, energetic swimmers that ambush seals in very complexly calculated attacks, and like that's an amazing method. Tiger sharks are much more opportunistic. They lazily scoop up anything. garbage and sea turtles and marine mammals. That they'll go after anything. Bull sharks known to be like. I would say they're very bold. Compare like they're labeled as aggressive, but I would prefer to call them bold. Like they're very they access this unique environment as far as fresh water, and that brings them into contact with humans a lot more often. So it's a big opportunistic feeder that is more in contact with humans than the other species. And then oceanic whitetips, they're kind of like greyhounds, or not greyhounds, bloodhounds. Like they hone in on something in the open ocean, and they're just masters at they're just masters at honing in on their target. So these four sharks, they're all equally dangerous, but for four very different reasons. And they shared like the same tooth type, but it is kind of cool to see how they're different. And sorry, your comment on the size, Bibia, just made me think of that, where it's like it's kind of cool to illustrate like these are all four very different sharks taxonomically for the most part, and very different sharks physically, and very different sharks as far as like ecologically they're all kind of different, but they're all the same level of danger. It's kind of interesting to compare them. So yes, Howard, to protect against shark attacks you have to understand the nature of them. Absolutely. So yes, Roy, I think some fisher actually caught a 4-meter bull one time, didn't they? Yes. So so I think this might be disputed. This is in Chennai, India. This is the famous Chennai bull shark, or actually, at least I call it that. I don't know if people call it that, but I call it that, the Chennai bull shark, which is, I think it was like. I think the official record is 3.6 meters, 3.6 meters. I think is the official record. It's either 3.6 meters or 365 kilograms. It's 3.6 somewhere. So, but India holds the record for largest bull sharks. So yeah, bull sharks are overly confident. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So let's see. I know it's 11, but I do want to wrap up. Talking about. I think this paper is actually probably the best one to end on for this species. So, the Northern River Shark or the New Guinea River Shark, because it is talking about conservation. So we'll push the time a little bit. So, we already talked about the description. This species is eligible for listing as endangered as it satisfies criterion 2, geographic distribution, population size, and decline in numbers of distribution. Population size, so small population to size. Yeah, I agree. It's already 11. It's been a really fun discussion. So, let's see. The species was listed as endangered in 2001 based on its limited geographic distribution. The estimated total number of mature individuals being very low and likely to continue to decline. Okay. Cultural significance. Fishing of Elazabrix is a part of traditional fishing practices and historically makes up an important part of the diet of coastal indigenous communities. Indigenous Australians are allowed to take and eat northern river sharks for personal, domestic, or non-commercial communal needs. So it's really cool that indigenous communities or indigenous Australians are able to harvest these sharks. The government of Australia makes it illegal. So for citizens of the government of Australia, it's illegal, but Indigenous Australians can bypass that. And that's really cool to see that. We have that in North America with Inuit, I want to say, with whaling. There's tribal rights. Actually, well, not just that. I mean, and there's tribal rights to a lot of different marine resources. So whaling is a big one. I'm curious, Bruce, if for your salmon work, do you work with a tribe or do you work with the government? Because there's a lot of Pacific Northwest salmon conservation places that do work with tribes, and they are working with salmon fisheries based on tribal treaties and tribal rights. So in Virginia, we have herring, and I forget if it's menhaden specifically or other kinds of herring, but I believe we have a fisheries hatchery for the Mattaponi tribe, and I think they have tribal rights to that section of river and resource, if I'm not mistaken. So, also, kind of fun fact: Rappahannock tribe recently reclaimed some of their lands in Virginia. I think that was news that broke out recently. So, which is really cool. Because Virginia, unfortunately, has a really awful history of tribal displacement, and there were so many tribes in this state. And it's wild to see how much of that has been displaced, and it's really great to see that slowly and surely, some tribes are getting their recognition back. Famously, we had 8 tribes be recognized by the state government, and then the federal government is starting to recognize a few, and then related to that, it was really cool to see that the Rappahannock tribe was starting to get some territory on the Rappahannock River, so it's really cool. Howard, fishing rights are more open for natives of Canada. Licenses are not required if you hold status card. Interesting. So, thank you for sharing that, because in the United States it depends on the tribe. Because some and it's really interesting. Some tribes have a lot of power comparatively, and some don't. Like it really each one is very unique as far as like the rights that they have. Some of them have like a passport even to be a part to get into that area. So yeah. Oh, thank you, Bibia. So. Yes, absolutely, Minjas. 100% agree. It's always good to hear of tribes getting lands rights, even just recognition back. 100% agree with that. Let's see. I'm going to read the distribution and habitat for the northern river shark. Northern river sharks are elasmosaurids capable of living and moving between freshwater and seawater. The species utilizes rivers, tidal sections of large tropical estuarine systems, macrotidal embayments, inshore and offshore marine habitats. Adults have been recorded only in marine environments. Again, this is so cool that the adults use more complex areas, where neonates, juveniles, and subadults have been recorded in freshwater, estuarine, and marine environments. The small amount of data available indicates a preference for highly turbid. This is actually really cool. Secchi depth. So Secchi is it measures turbidity. So it's like this little disc with like a. It looks like a checkerboard, kind of like a black section and white section, and you let it fall into the water, and you kind of record when you can't see the difference between black and white. So it's a fun way to look at turbidity, so how murky the water is. So tidally influenced waters and fine muddy substrates. The presence of animals well offshore suggests northern river sharks undertake movements away from rivers and estuaries, and are therefore likely to move between river systems. Now, this is interesting in comparison with the fact that the different rivers have different populations. So this is interesting to say that, hey, we think that ocean population or river sharks from one river go into the ocean and might hop over to another river. That's actually really interesting because there's that study that was saying that, well, each river has a different subpopulation. So within Australia, Bibia, Australia and Canada are doing well in regards to conservation of nature. They regulate sensibly, I heard Red think. Agreed, 100% agree. So that's always, sorry, I already read that comment. So yeah, and for sharks in particular, Australia does an extremely good job, with just, I feel like they've done a lot of good work, and you see comparisons between Australia and other areas that have the same species of shark, where the Australian populations tend to do better. Big shout out to Australia as far as shark conservation goes. So within Australia, northern river sharks are known to occur, have historically occurred in Western Australia and Northern Territory. Let's see. Northern river sharks are believed to be endemic to Australia and southern New Guinea. Outside of Australia, species are known only from a few specimens from the Fly River in Papua New Guinea. The global population size is unknown, and the relationship between the Australian and global populations is poorly understood. So again, right now, we think the global population is between 2,500 and 10,000 individuals for this species. It's currently known what percentage of the global population occurs in Australia and whether Australian Papua New Guinea populations are genetically linked. Now, that's a really good point because, again, we think that the different rivers have different populations. So it sounds like the Australian and Papua New Guinea sharks probably are not linked, but additional data on the distribution and movement of northern river sharks as well as the population genetic analysis are needed to determine the degree of fragmentation. The high incidence of spinal deformities in sharks captured in King Sound may represent a genetic deformity associated with a small gene pool. Wow. Wow. So that's kind of like cheetahs. Cheetahs are infamous for having a genetic bottleneck where it's like there's not a lot of genetic diversity in cheetah populations. So it's actually really sad to see that for this species of river shark, there might be subpopulations that may be undergoing a similar genetic bottleneck. Given the threatened status of the species, all river systems where northern river sharks have been recorded are important. All populations are considered to be of high conservation value, and hence the actions described below are designed to provide ongoing protection for northern river sharks throughout their Australian ranges. The species has been recorded in riverine and marine environments across northern Australia and is known to have occurred within most of the subtropical and tropical IBRA bioregions and natural resource management regions between King Sound in Western Australia and East Alligator River in the Northern Territory. The distribution of the species is not known to overlap with any EPBC Act lists threatened ecological communities. Let's see. This is interesting. Native title holders have legal rights to hunt and fish for personal, domestic, or non-commercial communal needs. These rights allow for the harvest of northern river sharks. Indigenous people are known to occasionally take Glyphis species during fishing activities, but are not known to specifically target this species. The number of northern river shark caught by indigenous fishers is currently unknown, but likely to be low. Let's see. The primary threat comes from foreign vessels illegally fishing Australian waters for the shark fin trade. That's scary. That's also really, I mean, I know they literally just said illegally, but that's like really mad illegal. This breaks the law of the sea. So the law of the sea is, I think it's 200 nautical miles offshore. If like whatever is 200 nautical miles offshore of your country, that is your territory. So anything beyond that is international waters, and so anything can happen. But if it's within 200 nautical miles, that is your territory, and you can't be harvesting resources. So, yeah. Let's see. Oh, I see that. I think Bibia is catching up on the scorpion thing. So. So we have, I haven't seen him in a while. I think it's Mondre Mondo. I saw your comment. Mondre Mondo, I think, is our viewer from Indonesia. So we have mostly Americans and Canadians, but we have Mondre Mondo from Indonesia, and then Bibia from the Netherlands. So, yeah. So, fun mix of people. Really, really enjoying this. A wide range of habitat-based threats exist for northern river sharks. These include coastal development, removal of mangroves and seagrass and land clearing, barriers in rivers, water quality and sedimentation, interruption of migration pathways, water extraction, and destruction of benthic habitat through bottom trawling. Man, I'm just gonna kind of skip ahead. And actually, you know what? This is such a really great study. I know it's pushing it past 11. I'm gonna put this in a chat. Just so everybody can read it if they want to. So, woohoo! East Coast Maine is awesome. Yeah, thank you, Roy. 4 flags. Thank you. It's honestly an honor. It's really cool to see that. We started 2 years ago, and and I think I just threw the American flag no, I didn't. When I realized that we have viewers from Canada, I was like, you know what? It would be kind of cool to see the countries. So, American flag, Canadian flag, Indonesian flag, Netherlands flag. I really am excited to see Hogtail Forever. Yeah. Kanacombo. Thought. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this is great, guys. I love these comments. So, Canada House twice, Howard and Roy, and Bruce. Bruce is Canadian too. So we got 3 Canadians. So 3 Canadians and a few Americans. The great state of Maine, and then the Commonwealth of Virginia. So it's funny, random tangent. I watched The Departed, which is a great movie. I think over the weekend. And in the beginning, they say the Commonwealth, the Massachusetts, like in the Boston accent. My grandmother was from New England, so Commonwealth is really fun to hear them say that in that accent. The Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So I'm confident in your ability to like, be the finest police department. Anyway, so. I'm gonna. Did I leave the? Yes, I left the link in the chat. I do want to skim through anything here. Priority actions. I think it's important to give the species the priority actions readout, and then we'll wrap it up for tonight, because I do want to do right by the species, because the river sharks are so important. So, the following priority recovery and threat abatement actions can be done to support the recovery of the northern river sharks across their range. Commercial and recreational fishing. Promote cooperation and understanding between agencies of commercial and recreational fishers to improve recovery efforts for northern river sharks. Like we always say, making it's very easy to confuse species, and like facilitating that understanding for our for fishermen or for people who accidentally harvest sharks that need protection. I just want to echo how important it is to educate the public as far as like finding those differences between species. Fortunately for the river sharks, the 2 equal-sized dorsal fins, or 2 more closely comparably sized dorsal fins, is a good giveaway for the fact that it's a protected river sharks. So that's really good. Review and improve the ability of commercial fishery monitoring programs to provide accurate, validated data on the extent of interactions with northern river sharks. Encourage and educate recreational fishers to identify northern river sharks at species level and report any interactions. Now, this is going to be really difficult because the difference is just coloration relative to the eye, so that's going to be very difficult, but at least they can get the genus. Consider new management arrangements to reduce commercial bycatch rates and ensure recommended actions are adopted in commercial fisheries. Enhance the capabilities of enforcement and compliance for recreational and commercial fishery interactions with northern river sharks. For indigenous fishing, collaboration with indigenous communities, develop and implement a community-level program to promote northern river shark conservation and enhance cooperation and understanding between agencies and indigenous communities. Illegal, unregulated, and unreported fishing. Enhance the enforcement capabilities of agencies targeting IUU fishing of northern river sharks. Habitat loss, disturbance, and modification. Implement measures to reduce adverse impacts of habitat degradation or modification. Marine debris. This is going to be really tricky. Partner for marine debris organizations to support initiatives to reduce marine debris likely to impact on northern river sharks. Now, why I say that's really tricky is, I don't know this area very well. Like Northern Territory or Western Australia, I don't know these areas really well. It seems like it's kind of low population density, but I could be wrong. But I'm curious about, like, with the habitat type, how loose is the soil and what's the natural, discharge of sediments into the water. I honestly don't know. But then again, even if there was a natural discharge of sediments, I guess this species is well adapted to that environment. So maybe I'm undercutting like what, or underestimating like the fact that there's probably is a lot of habitat disruption via farming, which loosens soil and pollutes the river even further, and probably with like nutrient overload. So sorry, I'm kind of talking myself down. So anyway, I talked that through. Collection for aquaria. Partner of state governments in the aquarium industry to set strict requirements for take from the wild, including continuation of a moratorium on collection of northern river sharks until the full extent of risks to local populations is better understood. Develop and contribute to a conservation-oriented education program in those public aquaria of captive northern river sharks. Now, fortunately, river sharks are not like, I've not seen river shark trade or river shark people keeping them. Like we saw this really cool video of a spear-tooth shark, but this is for a research lab. So this is not, and I'll play this. This is not a private aquarium, and this is actually a really good view of these animals moving naturally. So this is a cousin of Tonight Shark, but this is like a holding tank for research. So so I have not seen like private aquarium collections of these animals. Yeah, so. We'll end with that video for tonight. I want to make sure I got everything. Conservation information. Develop a portal for the synthesis of information on northern river sharks to ensure that decision makers and resource managers have the best and most up-to-date information available. Disseminate outcomes on research projects on northern river sharks. And then undertake coordinated community education programs with priority given to those communities where the greatest conservation outcomes are likely to be achieved. So... now, that was a mouthful, but I think it was important to kind of read it out loud because this group of sharks is really, like their life history, it's set up for, I don't want to say set up for failure, but it's just like it's set up for a lot of difficulty because when you think of, again, a river compared to an ocean, you got so much population, like human impact, impacting those riverine environments. There's a much higher degree of human impact from a river, which is structurally surrounded on all sides by humans, than an ocean where you have a beach and everything, but at least you have some open water, if you're a shark, to like a river shark, a shark confined to a river only has like so much space, but a shark that is more coastal or who can escape to deeper water, depending on the species, has more options to resist human pressure. So, anyway, I'm glad I kind of pushed this stream a little bit because, I think it was important. I love our tangents, and they were really fun, and I think really important too. I just wanted to make sure that I gave the species its due because this group of sharks is not doing well. I'm glad that the IUCN Red List has updated it to vulnerable. It's encouraging to see that there's maybe more river sharks than we originally thought, but I am overall concerned for this group. So, we'll see. I think giving them attention is really important. One thing I am encouraged by is I predict that this, and thank you guys. I really love these comments, by the way, because I predict that this group of sharks, the river sharks, is actually going to continue to get more attention. I do have a prediction that I would not be surprised in future like Shark Week or future like pop shark culture that we're going to see more river shark stuff in the future. It's a rare group of sharks that they look a lot like bull sharks. They are actually fairly large, and they are such a high conservation priority that I would not be surprised if more focus is devoted to them. And I hope that, and I would really, really encourage that. So, I'm going to make a prediction that we're going to fortunately get some more river shark coverage in the future. When I started Dr. Jaws, I never would have imagined seeing river shark video. And now I'm seeing more pop up. And not just like the Jeremy Wade, River Monsters stuff. It's like, research on this group of sharks. This beautiful footage of these sharks healthy swimming in this holding tank. So they're really, really gorgeous. This is a great shot of how these animals move. So it's just a really cool group. But thank you guys so much for watching. Really appreciate the discussion tonight. Really appreciate you all being here. And thank you for all the well wishes too. Good night to everybody as well. Hope you have a great rest of your week. And tune in for next week for Emopterus spinax, the velvet belly lantern shark. So we're going to go back into the deep water. So, really excited for that. But cheers, everyone. Have a great night, and I will see you again next week for the velvet belly lantern shark. Take care. Bye.